This episode of Smokin' Sounds is brought to you by Classic Cigars. Do all your online shopping at ClassicCigars.net.
Bartender, can I get a couple beers?
It's Smokin' Sounds, the ultimate podcast for cigar and pipe enthusiasts and those looking to embark on a journey where smoke intertwines with sound. What's up, everybody? I'm Sean, one of the hosts of Smokin' Sounds, and joining me is a man who needs no introduction, the daydream believer himself. It's Justin.
Hello, everybody. The last time we were on, we were complaining about 70-degree weather and, it's January. Well, guess what? The big winter storm hit and we all got snowed in. So it's good to be back out here. And it looks like we have more 70-degree weather all the way through February. So we are loving that, and we've stopped complaining about it, although that's probably the first time we've ever stopped complaining about anything. But anyway, so we are back here. We're here at the Classic, and we are just excited to bring you more of, this thing with which whatever we bring you.
Well, and I thought we were coming in with Commander Pilot's latest single, just another beer song. I thought, hey, we're at the Classic Cigar Lounge, so what a better way to bring it in than to do it with Commander Pilot's latest single. And also joining us, if you're watching on YouTube, sorry, I'm controlling the camera and everything, we have Mr. Good Smokes himself, Mr. Mason. What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, how's everybody doing? It's good to be back.
Good to have you, man. Good to have you. And we're going to talk about Good Smokes and kind of, your progress on that. He graciously came, we said, why don't you come down and smoke a cigar with us? And he said, well, I might have other okay. He was gracious enough to come down and join us. So good to have you again. And we're going to catch up with you. But we have a very special guest, Sean. Very special guest. But before I introduce him, Jeff, who is one of the tobacconists here, is going to be jumping on with us too. Jeff is also a member of the PCA board. He's actually getting settled in now. But joining us all the way from Nicaragua, if you guys can see it here, I have been so excited about this, guys. From one of my new favorite cigar companies, thanks to Jeff, from Domain Cigars, Mr. Daniel Lance. Mr. Daniel, how are you, sir? Thank you so much for taking the time to be on with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the invite. Looking forward to chatting with you.
And I think you know Jeff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff and I go way back, and he's been a strong supporter of Domain and our vision and what we're doing. So, always very welcome to talk to Jeff.
Okay, so we have a bunch of your cigars here, and so we're going to go around the room. Now, they all have kind of like, guys, if you don't know Domain, these kind of have like scientific names. And Daniel,
yes,
we're going to ask you about that. So now what did you say? Mine's a Habano. It's
yes,
a Habano Gordo, looks like.
Hold on. So the one that you are smoking, Justin, is, man, it's...
He's got the negentropy.
Negentropy.
Negentropy. What does that even mean, negentropy? Okay. I don't have to know it. Like a watchmaker said, like a watchmaker used to say, you don't have to know how to make a watch to tell time, So I'm going to light that up. And so, Sean, tell them what you got.
So I've got the Entropy, the Maduro. This is the one that we were actually down at Classic, Daniel. I'll tell you a little secret. We were actually down here for another cigar event. And I was on the way out the door, and I had walked into the humidor, and I just walked right, and I had remembered Jeff telling me about these Domain cigars, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna grab a couple of these. And I got home that evening, and I fired up this Maduro, and I just fell in love with it. And I came back the next day, and I think I bought 4 or 5 more. I think I've almost bought probably a whole box of these now. This cigar is just absolutely fantastic, and we're going to have you kind of get into all that. Jeff, you hear earphones okay? Yep. All right. And Mason, tell them again what you're smoking.
I'm smoking the Neutron, which is the Mexican San Andres cigar that they make. It's really good. The Entropy is probably my favorite, but I figured to switch it up, and like Sean, I've probably bought enough of the Entropy that I should just get a wholesale account.
Yeah, and Daniel, I love the inside of your bands with the QR codes and stuff on them. And again, we'll have you tell us all about that here in a second. But Jeff, are you smoking one?
Yes, I am smoking the Neutron. the one of the new sizes I brought in recently on a little package deal.
That I smoked that in the 60 ring gauge earlier, and that was fantastic. That's the Mexican San Andreas. So, all right, Daniel. So you tell us about the cigars we're smoking. Well, you're the man, so I'll let you tell. So I don't want to screw it up, so I'm gonna let you tell us.
Well, we make today 3 different blends. We have those in 22 different offerings, 18 in just 2. And all of those are available at Classic Cigars there, which is a flagship account of Domain Cigars. So Jeff has done an incredible job building up that market for us in the Midwest, and very excited to hear that they're extending their customer service to all of you that like to purchase online or maybe live too remote and can't physically come by the shop.
Yes.
So I think that's really fantastic. We have in those 3 blends kind of your undefeated champions of boutique brands, in that everyone wants to do a Habano, right? But a lot of times our Habano is named New Gentropy. Why do we call it New Gentropy? We wanted a name in English that you didn't know how to pronounce, since usually it's a name in Spanish you don't know how to pronounce. So we wanted to kind of mix it up on you, you know. But New Gentropy is a Rosado Habano. It is a full body Habano, where you typically don't see that. It's actually a double Ajero cigar.
Okay.
That is about 90% of the same blend that is in Entropy. There's one modification that's made to that blend, to one of the tobaccos, that really makes it work really, really well for U.S. grown Connecticut broadleaf. So going back to the foundation of Domain Cigars and Tabacalera family at Disla, I'm coming to you live from the factory here. Just pointed over my wrong shoulder, but here, Tabacalera family at Disla. This is not a background. This is a real live factory behind me. And what we do is we actually grow our own tobacco. We have our own farms. We have our own factory and our own brand. We're about the first company to do that vertically integrated approach from the ground up, and probably more than 30 years in this business. Whenever it comes to procuring our wrappers, Connecticut broadleaf is something you don't see a lot of newer companies put on the line, because they can't get access to it. We're a little different in that regard, because we're actually a tobacco brokerage. So it's a little bit easier for us to cut through some of that red tape, if you will, and be able to put out a product that a lot of companies don't get a chance to for many years. In addition to that, we also have Neutron, which is a Mexican San Andreas. It's more of an Oscuro to Rosado finish Mexican San Andreas. We work that tobacco through Tanixa. It's 2 brothers actually in Mexico that grow that tobacco for us. Incredible presentation on that cigar. It has a medium body for San Andreas, which is, we didn't want to be a contrarian about every blend that we put out, but in some ways we kind of wound up being. With regards to the San Andreas, you know, it's a true medium-bodied San Andreas, and one of the background elements of Domain Cigars is, who do we design it for? We designed it for the 5% of daily smokers that are in the lounge every single day. They want a complex, rich cigar. They want great tobacco, and they want a full spectrum presentation. What I mean by that is, every single cigar we put out under Domain is going to be Ligero, Viso, Seco, every single blend. So whether we do something that is lighter, medium, or full body, it's always going to have a presentation of the entire spectrum of those plants that are represented in it. Something that not a lot of people know that we actually intentionally do when we blend. But yeah, in short, that is the 3 blends. U.S. Connecticut broadleaf is brought to us by Dunn & Foster, farmer in Hartford, Connecticut, that we worked with sourcing that tobacco. That is in 4 different sizes today. It's about to change, and we'll have everything that you need when it comes out, I'm sure. And then we also have, of course, 18 sizes in the other 2. So a lot of variety.
And so will you be doing the Entropy in a 60 ring gauge, or do you already do that in a 60 ring gauge?
I've gotten a lot of questions about that, actually. And we've made it in a 60 already. So our 9 sizes, every blend that we put out, we pre-make it in all 9 to make sure that it works in all 9. So we've made it in that. It is incredibly robust. Of course, it is still a double arrow cigar, and we've certainly pondered it. Would you like to see it in a 60?
Oh
yourself?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot
So-
to ask you, what are you smoking?
I'm smoking Entropy. I'm smoking His Excellency in Entropy, and have New Entropy on the line next year. So.
But yeah, and so tell me about, because I believe you might be one of the, if I'm wrong, please guys correct me, but you're one of the first cigar manufacturers that puts a QR code inside of the band. And so what is that about?
Well, that's actually because of Jeff again. So we used to put them on the barcodes, and then every time you'd scan the barcode, the new barcode readers, they can scan QR codes and they can scan the UPC.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, we used to have a little QR code there, and we had to come up with a solution to move it around. So we moved it under the band. I don't know if I've seen it presented exactly that way, but maybe Jeff knows if some other brands have done something like that before. But I moved it there, and we have a great website where you can kind of get a background on each cigar, a pitch from me on each cigar, and all the kind of details that you would normally need to, hop around to 3 or 4 different blogs or listen to a podcast like this. The website's great. You can get the details really quick.
Right to it without the silliness. So I want to step back just a little bit, Daniel. So
Sure.
Why Domain Cigars? I mean, I have not been to your site. I kind of approach this like as if I'm a listener to the podcast. So I've never heard of Domain. Like, why you guys call yourself Domain Cigars? I mean, what's that about?
So Domain was a creative workshop for me, more or less. And Domain was originally a coffee company. So I owned a coffee company in the Midwest, and we made beans in a bag and cold brewed coffee and all this kind of stuff. And we were in like hundreds of grocery stores and convenience stores and all that kind of stuff up north. Never made it down to Oklahoma, but I was, I think I had a little bit in Iowa, I had a little bit in Missouri, I had a little bit in Kansas, And during, there was some kind of pandemic or something some people were talking about a couple of years ago.
I heard something about that.
Yeah, we cooled off production for that. And there was a lot of uncertainty at the time as to what we needed to do as a manufacturer, because we actually owned our own brewery manufacturing the items. So a lot of them were ready to drink items. And so at that time, we put a pause on it, the safety of our workers and uncertainty of where the business would go in the future. And I had already kind of transitioned to living in Nicaragua now. There was always a plan for it to kind of come back, but that whole event lasted, I think a lot of people in retrospect would say a little far too long.
Yeah.
So that, by the time we had been closed as long as we had been in business previously, which was nearly 3 years. It was about time for Domain to become something else. And we were kicking around, Esteban and I, whenever we decided to partner on building this company, we were kicking around multiple different names for the brand, where we wanted to go with it. And, neither him or I liked the idea of it just being, our names on a box type of thing. We also don't particularly care for names of cigars that are supposed to indicate how you're supposed to enjoy them or what flavors you're going to get from them. We have, tasting notes on the inside of the box sled, but that's really designed as kind of a buff for the tobacconist to kind of jog their memory of what that cigar is going to be like. So just a cigar sitting on a table, I don't like it to indicate what the experience is supposed to be. So Domain, which is, of course, mastering a domain and celebrating the work that Esteban has done in his career to, master his not only growing of tobacco, fermenting of tobacco, manufacturing of it, and now the first time that he would be owning a brand, it seemed very fitting. And of course, I already forced Esteban to put his name on the building. So,
and so I think Jeff, did you have something you wanted to say?
Oh no, I'm just listening.
Okay. So Domain, it's I guess we consider it a boutique cigar. Is that what we're kind of labeled as? And it's me and Justin were talking the other day, and it's kind of like there's all this kind of new blood. Even like with the Super Bowl, we've got new blood quarterbacks that haven't been there, but so you're kind of the new blood of boutique cigars, and so far, I mean, what you're doing is just absolutely fantastic, and I'll probably say this 1,000 times, but I can't thank Jeff enough for introducing me to Domain Cigars. And like I said, when I smoked this Entropy, it changed my life. I mean, Crowned Heads La Imperiosa is my favorite cigar. But this right now, if I had to be held down, this would be my cigar of the year for 2026. And I know we just started, but I mean, it's going to be hard fetched to find something that delivers this much flavor in a Toro size cigar that's not overpowering in a Maduro, if that makes sense. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks very much. That's a very, very high recommendation, and it's a fantastic blend. It is a double Ligero blend, and that might be what you're responding to. And again, who we made the line for, we made it for those 5% of daily smokers that have smoked everything in the humidor. They want great, rich tobacco. They want something that they can session. Now, what a daily cigar connoisseur might session is going to be different from your guy that's coming into the humidor once or twice a month type of thing. So it is quite a bit stronger. But really interesting about double Ligero is does everybody know what double Ligero is? Like
I was going to say we might want to get everybody on the same page.
I'm going to take a guess here, Professor.
Okay.
So the Ligero is the top of the leaf or the top of the plant. Is that right? No.
Generally speaking, it's a classification.
So it's kind of the Ligero is kind of the best of the leaves, right? And so it's kind of a double Ligero of the leaf, sort of. I'll let you explain it because I already messed it up.
No, they're all good leaves. The best of the leaf is, the best of the leaf is really, well, starting on that, there's nobody puts anything in the dry barn that isn't already, looking at Class A, right? Nobody puts anything down in a Polone that isn't already looking at Class A. Now, how it comes out of the Polone and then how it gets classified thereafter, the Polone is the loaf where you often see them kind of turning the tobacco, and you might see some photos or videos of that. Nobody ever goes into that with some product that isn't, the best that they think they can pull out of that. You can't afford the losses that are going to incur as you're turning the Polone. So that said, Ligero is a class, and it's really about thickness. Okay. So so it's not really done at harvest per se, but we tend to talk about it in those very broad strokes. So what double Ligero is a process where it's not 2 leaves of Ligero or twice as much the volume in the blend. What double Ligero is really speaking to is it's twice the amount of time between harvests.
Oh,
so okay. Yeah. So in Nicaragua, that's more of a direct thing here in Nicaragua. In the United States, it takes on a little different meaning, and Connecticut, for example, or Pennsylvania, that takes on a very different meaning. But double Ligero in broad strokes is going to be when you're harvesting the plant. In Nicaragua, you do about 5 cuts on average, from bottom to top. And cut 4 and 5 as you work your way up the plant. Normally, you're taking those cut levels about 5 days apart, perhaps as long as 7 days apart. And double Ligeroing is where you're actually doubling that amount of time. So whenever you get to your cut 4 or cut 5, you'll double that amount of time. And it could be a minimum of, say 7 days. The production manager, in this case, it's Giraldi, our production manager, who's currently in the Dominican Republic because we're not harvesting tobacco right now. He's taking a little vacation. He'll actually walk down the farm each morning and determine what the thickness is. Of course, the leaves themselves are going to be pretty heavy because they're going to have a good amount of water in them. But he's going to determine when those leaves actually need to be pulled. So it's a much more manual process. But twice the amount of time, you get more cell membrane, more texture in the cells. Ideally, they're going to hold more oil, more acids, more proteins. And then you put them in a cologne for a pretty similar process that you would do with your other Lajeros and Cut 4 and 5.
Now, did you say all of your blends contain double Lajero?
No, just two of them. So Negentropy and Entropy, which are fairly similar blends, really.
Okay. Okay.
They take on a totally different meaning with the wrapper.
Now, Daniel, just so us, and I'll speak for me and Sean, just for us Okies, what right now? What's the weather like there in Nicaragua?
Well, for us, it's cold. It's real cold.
Oh yeah.
Which translates to about like 65, 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's real cold. Wow.
Yeah. So the good thing is tobacco loves that weather. You hit about 50 degrees and the tobacco doesn't like that weather at all. But it really, really likes that cooler 60s. Yeah.
Now it's interesting too because you were talking about you guys, started making coffee and then you got transitioned to this. So now, Jeff, I want to get you to lean in here a little bit because I have paired this Legentry or whatever it was, Legentropy, with your Stogie Brews Campfire Coffee.
Yeah, it's our Nicaraguan bean. It's kind of a breakfast bean. It's a little lighter roast.
And
Nicaragua.
So what's the heavier roast if off the top of your head?
The Sumatra.
Oh wow! Oh, I didn't even think. So
a lot of that just has to do with how they're roasting it.
So this, by the way, Daniel, pairs excellently, and I guess should be no surprise. It pairs excellently with this. They call it a campfire blend, so it's kind of has a little smoke to it, a little bit of earthiness to it, and just sets off this Legentropy really well. I drink my coffee black. So at this point, I want to go around the room. Sean and then Mason, I want you guys to kind of chime in. How's that cigar treating you? What are you picking up?
It's fantastic. And this is I have always been kind of scared of the darker wrapper cigars, right? Because you're always that fear they're going to be too overpowering for you, especially when you're talking about Maduros. But I think this Entropy is a perfect example of a dark wrapper cigar that you could smoke morning or night. It's not, and that's what I love about your boxes is the description of the cigars on your boxes are almost perfect. It's going to tell you, what kind of notes you could expect to get out of them and things like that. But that's the one thing that I love about this is it is a Maduro that you don't have to be afraid of. And especially when you hear because there's other cigars that are in Jeff's humidor that says double Lajero, and I have stayed away from them because I've been scared to death of them because I'm like, I don't want to get put on my keister, right? But this one is perfect. Like I said, this is probably about the 75th one I've had in 2 weeks, and I can't get enough of them.
Mason, so give us your impressions of what you got over there.
Oh man, this Neutron is really good. It's very got a nuttiness to it and kind of a dark, kind of cocoa-ish coffee-like flavor to it. As the best I can tell, it's not overpowering pepper like you get on some San Andres.
Yeah.
But it's really good. Got a great retro and everything, and man, the ash on it's amazing. Staying tight, it's burning like a razor, and it's got great flavor.
And so, Jeff, are you enjoying your
Jeff,
Neutron?
Can give us your professional opinion of what you got over there.
Professional. No, I mean, the reason I like Daniel's San Andreas is, the San Andreas to me nowadays is either dominantly very earthy or you get the unique quality of the ones that have a lot more natural sweetness to it. And I think that's where Daniel's lies in, is it's got a lot more of the natural sweetness style San Andreas, which is just not common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
because there's enough earthy cigars on the market.
That is very true. And so, Daniel, you may have said this earlier on the San Andreas. It's I believe I read it's like a AAA Mexican San Andreas. Is that something different? Is something different than a lot of other people do with their San Andreas wrappers? Or explain that a little bit to us.
So there's the AAA process, and I don't know what all QA decisions are made at other factories. You'll notice as you talk to people that run factories or operate them here, we're all kind of like set in our opinion as to how things are. It doesn't really mean that one thing is wrong or otherwise. The AAA process, what we call AAA, is grade A tobacco, which means it comes out of the brokerage. It receives an A grade as it is graded in the brokerage. Now that's going to be free of defects. It's not going to have any holes, or what holes in it are going to be extraordinarily minuscule, something less than the size of your the tip of your pinky type of thing. So that is going to be grade A. Now, whenever you go and shop for tobacco, you're buying that tobacco, whether it's from your own brokerage or somebody else's. Your factory then has its own standard. So whenever you bring it into the factory, it's going to be rehydrated out of the bell, right? It's going to be regraded, and at that point, it needs to receive an A as its grading coming into the factory, meaning it's going to go into production. The third A is going to come from the chief of production, which is basically going to be your head of QA, or your master blender, which in the case of Domain Cigars is going to be Esteban Diesel. So the third A is basically going to be who's actually mastering the blend for that production. So that's where the AAA process comes from. Now, just because we've decided to call it this, does that mean that it's inordinately higher quality, or other factories don't have AAA, so it doesn't? No, it really doesn't mean that. It just means that our standards have been met at each one of those intervals. So it's not getting a B or a C class as it's going into the blend itself.
Okay. And then I've got a couple of questions, and then I'll let Mason ask something. So, Jeff, how did you get introduced to Domain Cigars? I can't remember if I've ever asked you that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So Daniel did something very unique. I mean, gosh, what was it, a year and a half ago now? Where he sent out.
Yeah, coming up on 2.
Yeah, I just mysteriously got I think it was a FedEx package straight from, was it Nicaragua or was it Dominican that actually that package came from?
Yeah. So we sent them from the Dominican Republic to confuse people even further.
Yeah. So that's basically what it was. A mystery package showed up. It was a sampler. Had 3 sizes, I think, of the initial 2 blends. Had never heard of them. Just the sampler was 1 of 100, and after a while, it kind of was like, oh my God, that's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. Because it was like they were all 1 of 100. It was just one sampler out of 100. It wasn't meaning I got number 1. But the amount of detail that went into the presentation was flat out impressive. I mean, the boxes, the cigars, the banding. You had a QR code in the middle of the box. It kind of went to the side. So it was not the normal route that every other company takes, where they call up, "Hi, I'm so-and-so with this company. Can I send you some samples?" Which is fine. It works. Yeah. But, he, I don't know what metric he used to decide who he wanted to send out those initial 100 samplers to, but we were one of them, and I smoked them and got in touch with them, and rest is history. So, and we've got we got a mutual buddy up in Kansas City, and that I respect a lot, and he had high praise for him. So, we're kind of a close-knit community. Yeah.
And I've got to say, I saw Jason Brown the other day, and it was as soon as he heard that we were going to have you on, he just started, man, I thought he was going to teach me a class on Domain Cigars. He was so excited. And I love Jason, and he just had nothing but fantastic things to say about you. And he even had a few nice things to say about Jeff. Don't tell him I said that. But and then the other question I kind of had for you, Daniel, was if people follow you on Instagram, they've been seeing your reels. So is that the factory that you're kind of redoing over there? Yeah,
we're expanding. So the room that I'm in right now, actually, this is a pop quiz, because I didn't know this until recently, and I owned a cigar factory and did not know this. What do you think they call the room in Nicaragua where they actually make and roll the cigars?
What's that?
Does anyone know what that room is called? Room where they roll the cigars.
No.
We all looked at Jeff as like he was Mason.
The rolling room.
That is a great guess. That would be what I called it. The rolling room. No, they call it the saloon.
Oh,
wow.
So it's called the saloon. So this is the saloon that I'm in. If you're watching on the YouTube, And we are expanding the factory, but we are expanding the factory into more packaging area. Our packaging area has massively outgrown. We've taken on quite a few customers. Well, let me step back. We took on some customers for manufacturing only about a year ago, and those customers have done so well. They're coming back to me, and just yesterday, one of them ordered an additional 350,000 cigars.
Oh my
which
gosh!
feels
Wow.
great. Which feels great because they started with us, in a 50,000 cigar order, and their brands are doing so well. So we've been lately. I've been posting a lot to my story about my construction woes. I can hire people to do this stuff, right? That's not the problem. Like, we have the money to be able to hire someone to do like the painting and make sure the windows are sealed correctly and stuff like that. It's just, you won't get the quality. So I, whenever we took on this additional production space, I just said to myself, okay, I'm going to try to show our crew how things are supposed to look, what they need to look like. And, which basically has been me spending lots of my nights and evenings painting walls and, remudding ceilings and stuff like that. I'm not in construction, folks, but and my body's starting to remind me that I'm not in construction.
Yeah. I hear you,
Yeah.
man.
And
Shouldn't have sold your house so you could stay.
Mason, how were you introduced to Domain Cigars?
So it was 3 months into my cigar journey. Classic had a Domain event, and me and a buddy were going to go, and he ended up not being able to go, and I came and got to be introduced to their cigars, and got to speak to my inner nerd. Daniel brought lots of information that about the tobacco industry and tobacco sales and cigars and all that stuff, and it was just a great event. Daniel is a bundle of knowledge, and I got introduced to the Entropy and the Neutron that night, and have been a fan ever since.
And so, and again, you may have said this at the beginning. How old is Domain Cigars? How many years have we been rolling out cigars?
Yeah, so we started growing tobacco. Esteban started growing tobacco under Despiny as early as 2019. He sold his factory because he owned a factory at the time. He sold it to the brand that he was making around 2022. And literally that day that he turned in his keys and wasn't making cigars anymore, I was already living here. I've lived here about 6 years in Nicaragua. And I was just doing it for love of the game, folks. Like, I wanted to learn manufacturing. I did what Jeff does, every day, working behind the counter for a long time. And so you always kick around, whenever you work as a tobacconist for a long time. Man, if I did a brand, I'd do this, and I'd do that, and I'd do this. You know what I mean? But even moving down here, this was kind of a more money than brains thing. I was just down here to, learn about cigars, learn about tobacco, and kind of peek behind the velvet rope, if you will. Whenever he turned in his keys and left, I just happened to be headed up to Esteli and asked him, "Hey, will you meet up for a cigar?" And he was like, "Yeah, we'll meet up, but we don't own a factory anymore." I was like, "What you talking about?" Because I didn't know anything about him, selling his factory. And so from there, we met up, and I had to get up to speed because it was Esteban was like, we're going to grow our own tobacco, we're going to build our own factory, we're going to build our own brand, we're going to do it all from the ground up. And it was kind of like okay, well, we don't have a factory, we have to build one. So the factory took like more than 6 months to get the licenses here in Nicaragua. It moves really slow to get all that done. So we've officially founded the factory in 23, and we are rolling all through 23 with Domain Cigars itself launching in 24, and then 25, of course, run time. So we've really had Domain open. Jeff, what would you say it is? About almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
I think it's almost 2 years from when we launched here soon.
So Justin, what do you got? You look like you was about to try to ask him a question.
Well, I was gonna, because now we're very excited. We will be at the Premium Cigar Association this year. Are you going to have a representative? Are you going to make it up for that, or no?
I'll be there with bells on. Yeah.
Is that right? Well, look for two knuckleheads from Tulsa, Smoking Sounds.
Yeah.
And
Two other ones, you mean?
Yeah.
two other.
Yeah.
Yeah. More than usual. Yeah.
Because and I tell you what, I'm getting down, this legentropy, and I tell you what, more and more, when I started my cigar journey, I was almost strictly a Maduro guy. Connecticut was always too mild. And but I tell you what, with this cigar, almost makes me think about going like straight Habano. I used to call it habanero back in the day, but I take because there's almost like a citrus sweetness to it. There's almost like I don't want to say grassy. I don't want to say that, but I want to say like citrus, almost kind of that sort of overtone with it, and I'm really just falling in love with that.
Yeah. That's so you're smoking Negentropy, which is the Habano, and I believe I kind of get this eucalyptus note to it, which I think is really refreshing and palate. So that could be for you more of a citrus.
Yes.
And that's what's so great about taste is so personal. What we enjoy and everything, so individual, so personal. So coming out with a cigar, you always wonder. Sometimes you smoke a cigar and you go, "What were they thinking?" It's like, well, it might have actually met somebody else's expectation. And there's always a reason why it's on the shelf, and particularly with Shop Like Classic, where you have a person like Jeff there, great amount of experience, that's going to be able to walk you through and land you on a cigar that has those flavor profiles you're looking for.
Yeah, and I'm sure because Jeff, I'm sure you probably get calls every day of people wanting you to stock their cigars in your humidor, and so that's. I'm so thankful that you did decide to smoke those Domain cigars and put them on your shelf. Because now, how many humidors do you know? How many humidors you're in the United States?
Currently, I think we're verging on 100 thereabout.
Okay.
But that's look, folks. I'm like the worst salesman you ever met. I don't often ask for a sell or anything like that. In fact, I would say I'm almost opposed to asking for a sell. So calling up, lounges and stuff like that. The other complication is I'm currently in Nicaragua where we're doing this interview. I'm 1,500 miles away from the core group of my retailers, and I have 150 employees along with Esteban. There's not a lot of opportunity for us to do that. Really, we need a sales manager that's going to help the company, kind of grow and thrive. And I'm hoping around the trade show we'll have something on that topic. I would really like to see that come together. It's not easy. The whole business of cigars is not easy. This is the industry of cigars. We always talk the industry. I understand how people use the terminology, but the industry of cigars is manufacturing, core manufacturing, and doing that and running the stateside operation where you have to be really good at three different things. You have to be a marketing company, you have to be a distribution company, if you so choose, once you're a marketing company, once you're a distribution company, you have to be a sales organization.
Mm-hmm.
Running those categories along with the other three categories that we have out here is it's quite a bit to tackle. It really is quite a bit to tackle. I can see why nobody else has done this lately.
Wow.
I can really see why.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, unlike a lot of people we've interviewed, so you guys, you grow the tobacco and you produce it, and then you roll the cigars and ship this. I mean, it's all you have total vertical integration.
Yeah, we do. The majority of tobacco we use in all of our cigars is, of course, ours. Now, the wrapper, we don't have a wrapper operation ourselves. Now, we do partial finishing of some of our wrapper, of course. That would be like our broadleaf, where we're going to buy the broadleaf. It's going to be partially finished. We go ahead and lay it down and finish it the rest of the way in our own brokerage. But certainly, aside from the wrappers themselves, vast majority of components are all in-house. Yeah.
Wow.
And so kind of a compliment I wanted to pay to you and Jeff both is I appreciate that on your social medias, you are very open and transparent. You both share a lot of the stuff that's going on legislatively and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think people need to know that, right? We're not getting into politics, but if you're a cigar smoker, these are the things that affect you as a cigar smoker, and it affects Jeff as a tobacconist. It affects you as a cigar owner. And so I wanted to pay both of you a compliment. I appreciate when you guys share that information because it is knowledge that we all need to be aware of. And so I thank both of you guys for that. And I guess that kind of leads me into my other question I wanted to ask, Daniel, is, coming from the retail side to being the owner of a fantastic cigar, what has been kind of the hardest thing that you didn't anticipate, and what's kind of been the greatest thing that you didn't really see maybe being the greatest thing?
Well, there's a lot in just U.S. business that has changed so much in the last, say, 5 years, massively. And we haven't even really told all of our startup story. I mean, 2023, we were debanked in the United States. We haven't really discussed that with anyone. That was a whole fiasco. Quite literally, I'm down here in Nicaragua, and, I'm trying to log into our bank account, and the bank, had put all of our money into a cashier's check and sent it to, our corporate address in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And now I don't have money to run the company, and I'm driving to Managua to jump on the next flight out of town so I can go fund the company again. And there's so many things like that about running a business today, credit card processing regulations and so on. I think all of that was quite shocking. And then just how much change we would have in regards to not only how cigars are imported into the United States, but also how those transactions need to land so that retailers have an opportunity to make some money as well. The margins, I think, are thinner than ever before, and I think you've made some commentary as well that it also feels like more often people feel like they're being priced out as well, and that's terribly unfortunate on something that I'm so passionate about. And when we were launching the company, Jeff mentioned earlier, like how did we study which 100 retailers we sent our 1 of 100 box to? We really studied thousands of retailers across the United States, and really looked for people that had business models, expertise, and practice that we wanted to align ourselves with, and try to build a future with those retailers. What we were also doing is we were also looking at other cigar companies that were working with those retailers, and the number one element that we found was lacking, and maybe not intentionally lacking, but when you're growing tobacco, there's the iris that you see the world through. When you're working at a factory, there's the iris you see the world through, and when you're a cigar brand, there's the iris you see the world through, and then you have the retailer looking at all of that. What we found was there was a massive lack of transparency, a massive lack of realism whenever it came to not only how the industry, meaning core manufacturing, worked, but how the business itself works, which is terribly inconvenient because oftentimes the little nuggets of information that get out about how the business actually functions is not terribly inspiring for retailers. And oftentimes it comes in the form of, price change and market shift and product availability and things of those nature that customers are bringing to the attention of a retailer. And the retailer is watching a tighter and tighter market every day. And for the same reasons that me as a manufacturer, I'm not the biggest manufacturer in the world, but I'm also not the most well known. And what we're doing down here is fairly new, fairly exciting, I think. But that's not immediately going to put you on everybody's shelves today, So, in a roundabout way, I would say that mostly all of the massive swings and business changes that are affecting pretty much all of Main Street America retail have been the most impactful.
And do you see that too, Jeff, a lot with kind of the stuff going, how it affects your consumers coming in and buying the cigars and keeping an eye on, because honestly, in Tulsa, we're not paying nearly as much for a Domain cigar as we would in California, right? And
Sure.
so there's a lot of that comes into play. And how much of that does that affect what you have in your humidor?
Yeah, I mean, you have to learn each company and their habits as far as availability, and adjust your ordering to meet that. So it's always nice when stuff's not always back ordered.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard to budget if it's, all of a sudden you get slapped with a big back order that comes in that you're not prepared for. So, having product availability consistent. I mean, SKUs are going to run out. It's going to happen, but a manufacturer that does what they need to make that as less as possible is great. So, I mean, pricing nowadays is definitely, I think, the number one issue, along with just consistency and quality. I think a lot of cigars are getting rushed out. Personally, to me, I think the construction across the board the last year or two has kind of been at a little bit of a low. So that could be for a number of reasons. So, I'm cognizant of that, and it's kind of like you said, everyone's always wanting to try to get a cigar in a humidor.
Yeah.
Ultimately, there's a lot of factors that go into my decision on that. So.
Well, I hope everyone's jumping on ClassicCigars.net and getting these Domain cigars, because I'm going to tell you, for the price point that we paid for these cigars, this cigar smokes way above its weight. I'm just going to be honest with you. The price that I paid for this Entropy, I would expect, or I know there are cigars in the humidor that are $4 or $5 more than this that don't have the construction and they don't have the taste and just the awesomeness that this cigar has. And so I really do appreciate, Daniel, you making this product for us to have, as because we've talked to several cigar owners that are great people, but they fly to Nicaragua or Honduras or the Dominican a couple of times a year. You're boots on the ground. I mean, you're basically seed to hand, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you're getting your hands dirty more daily than most of the, cigar people that we've talked to. And I appreciate that.
Sure. Yeah, no, thank you for that compliment. And, look, the experience of smoking a cigar, again, deeply personal thing in regards to taste. There's a reason why all cigars come off the shelf. And, the experience that you receive at a lounge, such as the one that you're in, the camaraderie that you build, that is missing in so many areas of American culture, unfortunately, today, I think is worth even those extra couple of dollars here and there. But,
Right.
To the point of price concerns, I don't know of any credible concerns around our pricing necessarily. But whenever I got into smoking cigars, and Jeff will probably echo this too, I think your average price on the shelf was maybe $8 to $10 for something that's really up there. And today it's harder and harder. Everybody has felt the impact of some of the changes that have happened in the States, and frankly, I mean, we're paying more now to regulation than we actually make on the cigars ourselves when we import them, which is just a wild concept. We have 18 to 36 months of living with the tobacco before it can even go into a cigar. We put it into a cigar, we age it for a minimum, generally, of 3 months here in the aging rooms, and then it will turn around. On average, most Domain cigars are coming out about 6 months to a year.
Okay.
In regards to quality, though, that actually makes things difficult as well, because when you want to make a change, the change happens, and it's 3 and 6 months down the pipe, and then it has to get ordered, of course, and so we've certainly found a unique time and place in the business of premium cigars, and there's more lounges than ever before, but in so many ways there's fewer and fewer special lounges, and those special lounges where you guys can do exactly what you're doing. I imagine none of you knew each other before cigars. Is that correct?
Me and Justin, we met at broadcasting school, but we bonded over cigars.
Yeah.
So, so broadcasting school makes sense because you guys sound awesome.
All right, so I want to kind of shift the focus here a little bit. So Daniel, I want to ask you, and then Jeff, I want to ask. So without maybe giving away too much, so what can people look forward to in 2026? First of all, from Domain Cigars. I mean, what's kind of on the horizon, if you can tell us without killing us.
So not a huge secret. We have a project coming out, which is going to be a vintage cabinet series of Entropy. That is very special. I'm actually hoping to sit right here and do the pitch for that very soon. It is very unique. So we've been working on we call it high vapor barrier material for quite a while, and we've been trying to figure out how to use that in packaging of cigars. So we found ourselves making Coronas out of Entropy, and then we figured out, well, we could do this actually as a wet packed version of Entropy, and we could do that as a cabinet, because if not, we're going to be putting labels, double label on 50 really small cigars. So what we decided to do was to actually launch that high vapor barrier material into this project, and it has completely changed the project. I mean, it is massively different. So aesthetically, I think it's a very beautiful way to present the cigars, but it also is basically a special thermal blanket that we've had made for the box of cigars itself, for doing exactly what Jeff was talking about. It really extended aging. So you could buy these cigars, you could lay them down for 5 years. You could buy these cigars and smoke them immediately. Either the solutions work perfectly fine, but that's going to be really cool. The other one is Connecticut. So we've not launched a Connecticut, and there's two cigars that always have the same pitch, right? And Jeff will probably laugh when I say this, right? Candela, but it doesn't taste like Candela. That's always the pitch for every Candela that comes on the market.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Connecticut, right? It's a Connecticut, but it's a full body Connecticut. It's a different Connecticut, So those are. Sorry, go ahead.
I would just say that'll be different, because that's usually what kind of turns me away from Connecticut wrapper. Is that a lot of times I'll just say it's like smoking air. I mean, I kind of get. So I'm looking forward to that.
Right. So the classic blend for Connecticut oftentimes is going to be a Dominican Habano 92, or it's going to be a Criollo 98 in the filler. And then they basically just kind of swap out like two other tobaccos, and bam, zing, you have your Connecticut blend. That's not at all what we put together for this project. Now, it's not a full body Connecticut. I don't want to let you down, right? Is it complex in strength? No. is it complex in layers of flavor? Yes, right. So that's where we were really going for, is how do we take that baseline description of everything a good Connecticut should be, and how do we amplify the flavors in that to the point where it can actually set next to the other 3 cigars that we have. And I like to think that that's actually what we've done. I was just smoking the samples of it today, and it's coming out
excellent.
Great.
So do we have an ETA on that?
It's going to be launched at the best trade show for cigars, the PCA.
Excellent.
So it'll be available there, and that's kind of my ETA on it. We have another brand as well that we're launching with Kevin Baxter. The lawyers aren't done doing their lawyering on it. That said, so I can't say the name of it.
Oh, okay.
But it will be out very, very soon.
Okay,
Hopefully
excellent.
Those are going to be in the spirit of Kevin Baxter's work. Everything Kevin puts together is like Woro or larger, and complex,
Wow.
really rich blends that will satisfy ring gauges that we've not even stepped into before.
All right, so Jeff, I wanted to throw this over to you as kind of the guy here for at Classic. So what is Classic looking? What you can talk about for 2026. Like people want to order, or they want to come by if they're in the area. What can we look for from Classic? Kind of looking into 2026.
Well, we're just continuing to do what we do. So, just provide great cigars at fair prices and a good experience, with knowledge and a fun place to have a smoke in. So, we always strive to take care of people. And I think we've proven over the years that we do that. So, we'll just, we'll see what's on the horizon, but, we're always looking forward to new stuff and, especially stuff with Daniel. And we'll definitely try to get him in the shop again this year for some fun. So depending on his travel schedule, of course.
Well, as long as DJ Ed doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to be honest. As soon as I heard Daniel say vintage, what did you call it? Cabernet. I was just about to hand Jeff my wallet and say, "Here, I'll be here. Just let me know when they come in."
It is I think the strongest, most robust, and flavorful Connecticut broadleaf, yes, but Corona that I think you'll be able to get your hands on.
Wow. Okay.
So
I'll be looking forward to that.
That's a size for your core cigar guy. We don't have enough of the wrapper for it in that size to be able to make it at this price point. Which, by the way, this is. I shouldn't say too much. I should probably remove my foot from my mouth. But it is. It is. Yeah. Well, yeah. I.e. tariffs, right? But all to the same regard, we'll be able to put this on the shelf. A very, very attractive offering, I don't suspect they're going to be around too long.
Wow. All right. So Mason. So now we have talked about. So now you're with Good Smokes, and can you fill us in kind of how that's going, or is that still a work in progress?
It's definitely still a work in progress. I started a new job in the middle of the summer, and kind of had to adjust into a new job and stuff. But as we kick off in the new year, and especially as we come into these months that really focus on mental health, men's mental health, and world mental health. We're going to start putting out a lot more mental health content and how cigars work in that. And just, who knows what's going to happen as we go, but looking forward to this year and looking forward to ramping some things up and get it going from there. And I wanted to say to Daniel, I want to thank you for your transparency on all the things going on in the world of cigars, because there's a lot of misinformation out there from different platforms, big ones and small ones and medium ones. And it's really nice to see somebody out there not only saying what they're saying, but showing the information behind where that's coming from. I think that's an amazing thing, and I wish there were more people doing that. The second thing I want to say is if you need any taste testers, just let me know. I'll be glad to help you out on that.
I hear you.
Yeah, I was going to say if we get to the PCA and you just see somebody that keeps kind of pacing back and forth in front of the booth, trying to get one of those enthalpies, that might be me. But it will be nice to be able to meet you in person, and I would love to be able to get you back at Classic Cigars if your travel arrangements are able to see fit, because we love Classic. I've said it before, and Classic is so fortunate to have two of the best tobacconists, I'm going to say, in the world.
Yeah.
Jeff is so knowledgeable, and Andrew, I love him, and Brandon, the guy that owns it. They've just been so accepting of us and so gracious of putting up with us knuckleheads coming in here and acting like we know what's going on. But this is just a perfect environment. Like Mason said, we were talking about this earlier, and Justin said it many a times. This third space for men, like you said, we get to have a cigar, we get to have a good conversation, and a lot of times it's things that we may not even talk about if we didn't have a cigar in our hand,
right?
And so it's very. It's very relaxing sometimes. I think that's because your tagline's what? Smoke,
unwind, renew your mind.
There you go, and
this
is the perfect spot to do it. And I think Domain's the perfect cigar to have in your hand while doing it.
Yeah.
So Daniel, are you a sports fan at all?
No, I don't have a whole lot of time for sports.
I wouldn't. I was gonna, because we have the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday,
okay.
And I just kind of bringing that up. So let me take it around the room here.
Who's in it?
So
I don't know who's in it.
Okay, it's the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. And
nice.
so I just want to throw around the room here. So we were talking about kind of new blood and all that. I mean, yeah, one of the things about the Super Bowl that a lot of, that hasn't escaped my notice is that basically all your big stars are not in it. It's all kind of like people who've been in it a couple years, kind of rookies and former rookie, this kind of thing. So just for entertainment purposes only. I like New England by 10. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be a defensive challenge. Sean, what do you think? Just right off the top of your head.
I'm going to go New England. If I've got to do a point spread, I'm going to go 3. But I'm going to call up my bookie now and put that bet in off of your
entertainment purposes only.
Okay.
Mason, what do you think? Just off the top of your head, man. Off the top of your head.
Man, I don't even know enough about those two teams. I unfortunately follow a team that has not been able to pull it off in a long time, but I like the Seahawks. I don't have a spread idea, but I like the Seahawks.
You like Seahawks. Jeff, any ideas? Just, no wrong answer.
The only right answer is that the Dallas Cowboys aren't playing. So I'm not a fan of teams. I'm a dis-fan of teams. So I try to make sure certain teams don't make it. I'm an instigator. So, but I'll probably go with. I would say this. My pick would be the Seahawks.
NFC guys like the Cowboys are. I'd say I'm a Chiefs fan, so I root for the AFC, even though my Chiefs didn't stand a ghost of a chance this year, and their main quarterback might be out next season as well. He had a pretty bad injury towards the end there. So, but listen, if you're a Chiefs fan, you take it on the chin. And so, of course, baseball season is coming up.
Go Cubs.
Yeah. And now, do you have a baseball team, Mason or Jeff?
Not really.
But what I was going to say about the Super Bowl, if you're in Tulsa and you need a place to watch the Super Bowl, Classic Cigars, hey, come down, have 2 or 3 or 7 Domain cigars, watch the Super Bowl. And another question I had to ask, Daniel, and you may not know this, but we're big wrestling guys. Is wrestling big in Nicaragua?
Like Olympic wrestling?
We're like WWE.
Sports entertainment.
Yeah, sports entertainment.
Okay. Pro wrestling. I'm not really aware. So I would have to verge on no. Because I don't know that I've really seen it come up. But UFC stuff, like Ultimate Fighting Championships, that's pretty popular, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't.
Yeah.
think it's too far south for the
Football
Lucha
is,
Libre.
is actually football is actually and baseball, of course, are big here. And football is kind of a growing interest among Nicaraguans, and they are all right in line with the AFC stuff. So I get off the plane, so I have a home in Kansas City, and I get off the plane, everybody has, Kansas City Chiefs and Royals gear on and stuff like that, right? And then I land here in Nicaragua, and everybody has Chiefs and Royals gear on. So they are they are huge fans of the Kansas City, sports culture. And I think it had to do with, we had a really good baseball team, and then right after that, we had a really good football team. So when people here find out that I'm from Kansas City, they think that I'm just like from this place that has all these like crazy Olympians, right? And they don't know that we're just a bunch of fat guys who really have big opinions of barbecue, but Nicaraguans love Kansas City. So
Wow. Okay.
In Kansas City, that should be a sport all in of its own. The barbecue in Kansas City is phenomenal.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a sanctioned league. So
Yeah.
KCBS. Yeah.
Yep. Slaps Barbecue, some of the best barbecue I've ever had in my life, is in Kansas City. And BB's Lawnside. Wait, that's a whole nother episode. We're here to talk about Domain Cigars.
About Domain Cigars. That's,
hey, but you know what? Domain be a great cigar after some of that barbecue.
and so now,
it would be.
So I always ask, I know you guys are, really getting started. So, of course, I've learned since doing this podcast. What about? Are you going to have? Do you plan to have swag anytime soon, like shirts, hats, that kind of thing?
We do, and it exclusively goes through our retailers. So we don't do anything direct at all ever. So whenever we have it, we shoot it out to our retailers.
Okay, Jeff.
I would say. Don't harass Jeff for it.
If you get a hat that's Pumpkinhead approved, it's got to be Pumpkinhead approved. We'll have to. We need to talk.
I don't think I've seen a Domain hat yet. So I know Daniel sent me some T-shirts a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we have never done hats, and we were really light on the whole swag game and 25. So hopefully we'll pick it up and improve our game on 26.
Well, I mean, you're doing the main thing. In the end, all that's just fluff. But I've really come to love it, I tell you what, man. Again, I'm getting down to the last third of this Legentropy, and now more of the earthiness I think is coming through kind of towards the end here for me at least. I've lost that citrus kind of thing, but still a very complex in flavor, but not. It's not going to knock you over with strength.
And Daniel, we got Brandon just sit down. He's Jeff just tagged Brandon in. He's gonna. So Brandon is here, the owner from. And so Brandon, we'll ask you, what is your favorite Domain cigar that you've smoked since we've kind of went around the room and kind of done that. So we're gonna put the heat on you. You get to talk to us about Domain cigars real quick.
Well, right now I'm smoking the Neutron. It's actually my go-to. I like the mild sweetness of the San Andreas Maduro.
Yeah.
Very smooth and also not overpowering. I like a good strong cigar, but since I just got off work a little bit ago, doing all kinds of stuff today, this was my first cigar, and so I thought I'm going to go with the Neutron.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that I found with that Entropy is because we have a lot of guys that they don't eat carbs, so they don't eat sweets and things like that. And so I'm always kind of thinking about for those guys, like say you did just eat a big meal or something like that. I think that would be because I pick up some chocolate notes. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but that would almost be like a good dessert or after dinner cigar. I don't know if you've heard that before or not, Daniel, but and the San Andreas, I smoked the Neutron in the 60 ring gauge earlier today, and I thought, man, maybe I should have switched that, but I'm just glad I got an opportunity to smoke both of them today because, again, they're phenomenal cigars, and I think the price is what price is, but the price point you're at, you're not going to find a better cigar in that price point than Domain Cigar.
Oh, that is for real. Yeah, that is for real.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's
a good cigar after dinner, a good cigar after dinner forces you to slow down. So in some ways it soothes you, right?
Mm-hmm.
a nice whiskey with that, like what you're going to get at Classic, that's going to soothe the head quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
But certainly cigars do force you to slow down.
So Daniel, as the master guide at Domain, what's a good pairing for your cigars that you really prefer, whiskey wise or coffee wise or anything wise? What's a good pairing that you would, that's your kind of go to?
Well, a point of correction. I'm not the master of anything here. I own the place.
Well,
if anything, I work for everybody else, and I would still like to call myself a tobacconist. At least that's what we put on the box. But I would say in pairing, I think a pairing now, sparkling water, I don't think is a pairing. I think it does do extraordinarily well with cleansing the palate, and you'll often see me. That's what's in this. There's not a beer in here, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, I got my thermal for my my sparkling water.
Sparkling water.
I would say, sorry, go ahead.
I just say sparkling water. Okay, I think that's a new one for us.
I don't really know that that's really a pairing. So a pairing would be like coffee.
Yeah.
I think wine does amazing with certain cigars, with Neutron, for example, and a red wine. If you're doing like more of a fruit-based, fruit pie wine, Cap Francs and so on, like something like Quilt or Cuttings or something like that with Neutron is an amazing pairing. So I think it does well there. And then one unusual pairing with a fairly strong cigar that I think most guys will sleep on. They're going to laugh at me. But you smoke something like Entropy, U.S. grown Connecticut broadleaf, very bold flavors, ice cream.
Oh,
It's
really?
ice cream and a very stout cigar. The actual cream texture on the palate while you're smoking that cigar is almost like a protectant on the palate, and it's quite interesting. So and I think it's just also you're kind of stacking alkalines at that point. So but yeah, I think those are some of the more obscure pairings.
So we're talking vanilla or chocolate, or what are we talking about?
Well, if you just do straight vanilla, you probably need some help, but the joke is you're a psychopath. You do straight vanilla, but now if you do like a real rich vanilla or something, I don't know. But I would say something that would be a lighter ice cream. So
Okay.
You could go straight chocolate, but just the coating of the palate, the contrast of the two is a unique experience with food and smoking a cigar. But that and most spirits, there's almost a metallicness that can happen with some cigars whenever you pair them with spirits, and that can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be like sucking on a penny. If you were to put a copper penny, which I guess they don't make those anymore in the States, right? So,
right. They just stopped this year.
So this is a time limited example, but yeah, there are some like cognacs and armagnacs and things of that nature with a stronger cigar. So sometimes I like to pair those actually with more medium mild cigars.
Yeah, I tell you, I was smoking this. I'm smoking this Legentropy, and we were talking about pairings, and I almost think brandy on this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not
bourbon.
bourbon.
I can absolutely see that.
Yeah, maybe not bourbon necessarily. I think bourbon would kind of clash with at least the cigar I have in my hand. I would almost think brandy on this. St. Remy or something like that.
Well, I tell you, Justin, that Entropy Diet Pepsi Light went real good with it. I'm not gonna lie, that was his perfect pairing for me.
Hey, I paired it with root beer.
There you go.
Look at that, man.
Nothing's better than a Monster. So, and Joe Torres can back me up on that.
Yeah. I think cream soda, root beers. There's a whole group of guys that like to pair with those. So I think that's totally normal too. But one of the thing about pairing is the contrast in the pairing, so that they're not stepping on each other.
Right.
I think is super important. But I would say 80-90% of the time, if you're seeing me smoking a cigar, I'm pairing it only with water, which is not really a pairing, or coffee. That's really the only two.
And so, Daniel, is there anything of the Domain story that we have forgot to ask or you'd like to bring up? I know you said a little bit earlier there's several parts of the Domain story that you haven't talked about. Is there anything that we have not asked that you'd like to bring up or talk about here? I mean, please, if so, feel free.
One of the unique things that we decided to do with the factory, which might be intriguing to you guys, it certainly has been intriguing for us, is that a little over a year ago, we opened something called our residency. And our residency was our first opening up of our canvas. Now, what we call our canvas is our vertically integrated operation, being able to source the tobacco, manufacture the cigars, box ship those into the United States. Now, we opened up the residency and we were flooded with requests. You can go to tbfdsa.com to learn more about our factory.
Okay.
We have kind of a deep dive in there on all the services that we offer in our factory operations. But our residency was where we were actually offering other master blenders to come in and work in our canvas. So we immediately brought on Raul Disla. Of course, AJ, Knox, multiple other companies that he's worked with.
Okay.
That is Esteban Disla's brother. So he's worked with some of the best, most iconic brands out there. Then we also brought in Kevin Baxter. Kevin Baxter is, we refer to him as the palette hitman or the ghost blender. He's worked with and blended for multiple different brands and multiple people. But he's rarely ever put his name on a project. In fact, there's only one other cigar company that he ever put his name on, which was, you might know them as Asylum Cigars.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, wow.
So that was, so he's working with us now as well. So we opened up that canvas to allow other people to work with us. And, got flooded with requests and have quite a few. I think we make about 7 different brands today.
Oh, wow.
Higher level brands. And one of them is actually just over my shoulder here that you can see, which is Cayman Cigar Company out of the Cayman Islands. And their mission just fully fit with what we wanted to work on. We're fairly selective on customer engagement in so many regards, but they are 100% of their profits go to charity.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Granger, who's really a pretty amazing individual. He, served his country. Used to land on this little island out in the middle of the Caribbean. He was a fighter pilot, and used to land on this little island. Gets out of the military, goes into private service, starts up a medical practice, ends up selling that practice, and found himself with a good amount of wealth. And started asking himself, well, what do I do now? And then he remembered that little island that he used to land his fighter plane on in the middle of the Caribbean. And he looked it up and he goes, what's the name of that island anyway? And it was the Cayman Islands, which happens to be one of the wealthiest islands in the entire Caribbean. And wound up moving him and his family there. Discovered how much addiction had really struck the island and the local population had been really bad, and then addiction actually came to his front door and hit his own family. And so they've had an incredible story of recovery, and they actually started growing tobacco on the island, and they reached out to us as advisors to help them with that and a number of other things. And we started manufacturing together a little over a year ago now, and their company has blown up and expanded massively. So we're doing, I think, over 7 different cigars for them now. So
wow,
definitely don't sleep on checking out that line. They have some of my very good friends that I've known in this business for a very long time working with them as well. So certainly check them out. Tabanero Cigars is another one. Yanko, that East Tabanero Cigar, started making with us over a year ago. Incredible success. So yeah, opening up that canvas, that was a big initiative, because you'll find in the industry of cigars a lot of closed doors. You know, you have to be this tall to ride the ride type of talk, and that was something that Esteban was also very passionate about, breaking down those barriers and connecting great people with great tobacco. So yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And Brandon, since you're back here, I wanted to ask you. So we've been plugging classiccigars.net. And Domain is one of the brands that people can jump on there. Like you said, they can order there or call the store, right?
Yeah, it is, and we have a few of the products on there. We don't have the manpower and labor to put everything up there, so we put some select things on the site. And so if you see something you like, great, grab it. If there's something else you want, we probably have it at the store, so just give us a call. We'll be more than happy to ship those out to you.
Yeah, and because you guys are going to want to try these Domain cigars. I'm telling you, I know that they're, I've seen some other, and it's funny because after I got my cigars here, I was watching the Creekside Boys podcast, and they were raving about having your cigars in their humidor. So it's just nice to see that, we have a local lounge shop here with Brandon and Jeff and Andrew, and they're stocking the cigars that, you don't think of, like in the Midwest. Tulsa's going to have these great cigars, and I was, again, it just made me more thankful to have these guys and their team here to introduce us to these amazing cigars. And and again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to jump on with us. I know you're probably going to be in pretty high demand here. Everybody's going to be wanting to talk to you, so thank you for giving us that opportunity, and tell us a little bit about the story of Domain. And it's just been a pleasure smoking a cigar with you. Hopefully we will get that opportunity to shake your hand and meet you in person here in a couple of weeks at the PCA.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it, and greatly appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Yeah, Justin, let's go around the room. What else you got?
Well, I don't. Again, I just finished up that La Gentropy, and guys, it is fantastic. So hopefully they have that on the website. You guys can order that, or if you're in the area, come by Classic and they'll hook you up. Again, Daniel, I want to thank you so much for kind of jumping on with us here. And it's just, it's just amazing to us, because we always say we're just two knuckleheads from Tulsa talking about cigars, and people want to be on with us. And I always say, why? Why would you want to be? But we appreciate you. And again, it's just a minute ago, like you were talking about these other cigar brands, and again, I'm just struck at this cigar thing is such a community. It's really not a competition. It's everybody. I think there's room for everybody, and you guys, Daniel, you and others, just show me every time we do these interviews. It's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, and he's doing this now or doing that, and it's there's just this sense of like we're all in this together.
Yep, absolutely, and that's why I think the mental health aspect it's been mentioned here, which is fantastic, because we were talking about there's not a lot of places in American culture where you find that community anymore.
Right.
It kind of came out of the soda shops and came out of the diners and the libraries and things of that nature, going way back. And there's very few places where good men and women can come together on a neutral ground. And we're fortunate to have places like Tulsa Classic Cigars and Brandon's team, Jeff's team, working to facilitate that. So that's kind of going back to, that part of our conversation about what is all of this really worth. And I would say that this is some of the best parts of humanity that you see here, just people coming together and conversing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mason, what do you got, brother?
Man, I got tons of things. First, I want to shout out Classic. I mean, Brandon's put together a great team, and like Sean said, two, if not the best tobacconist around. I've never been steered wrong by Jeff or Andrew. I can be not being here for months and they still remember my palate, and I can say what's new that fits my palate, and they'll take me to something. And I rarely come in here and walk out without a Domain cigar in what I get. And then, just everything y'all are doing is amazing. And I do hope you get to come back to Tulsa and visit again sometime. It's a great place. And I can say Domain Cigars, I've never had a bad one. I've had some bad ones from much larger, much more well-known companies. But I've never had a Domain cigar that had a draw problem or a taste problem or anything. And they're in my top favorites. I mean, when you start talking about all times, I mean, it's up. They're up there in the top 5 for sure.
Oh, I'm telling you, because there's another company that I won't name, but they on their wrapper have double Ligero, and it's a much more expensive cigar than the Domain. I have had more construction issues with those double Ligeros. Never had a construction issue. Never had any issues with any of the Domain cigars that I've smoked. I've punched them. I'm not the best straight cutter in the world, so I kind of steer away from that. But I've punched them. I've V-cut them, and they just smoke phenomenally. What say you, Brandon? What do you got?
Yeah, the partnership's been amazing. First time I met Daniel was at the PCA, and my wife was in line for lunch, and they just started talking, and he was like, "Hey, we just opened you guys up," and so he bought her lunch and everything, and then we chatted for a little while, and I came back. I was like, "Well, I got to try these," and that was the first cigar I had at PCA. I'd only owned the store for a few months, so it was all new, wide eyes and all that, and and then Daniel graced us with a little training session we did down in the pit.
Yeah.
Just a small ticketed event where you get a couple of cigars with it, and he ended up surprising everyone with a third one. So that partnership has been fantastic.
That was my first introduction to Domain, and not only did I get introduced to some great cigars, I got introduced to people that I never would have met. You talked about the cigar world, the cigar life. I mean, it's you come into a place and it doesn't matter your socioeconomic status, your race, your faith, your political leanings, your sports teams choices, or any of that.
Wrestlers.
Your wrestlers.
Everybody comes
I don't know.
together.
I might care a little bit about your sports team.
Uh-oh.
Everybody comes together and bonds over this thing that's made out of leaves, and I've had conversations with people I never would have had in my life if it hadn't been for cigars.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And well, on a lighter note, though, as long as you don't bring up anything pro Texas with Jeff, then then it's going to be. I joke, right? He's not on the headphones right now.
No.
Okay. No. I've told him this directly. So I always say that Jeff is the ambassador of Oklahoma to Texas. He's always got a really good Texas jab waiting to throw it out.
Well, I'll make sure Jeff doesn't find out I'm a native-born Texan. So
Yeah.
And you know what? And I've had a couple of guys that made it to the event that was here at Classic with Domain, and they have said anytime Daniel is in town, I would pay to go back every time just to hear that guy talk, and that just further excited me about this opportunity to have you on to talk to you, because there are people that have been doing this for way longer that aren't nearly as like I said, transparent or gracious with their time. And so again, I can't thank you enough for allowing us a little bit of that time and a little bit of a look into your factory and all that you have going on down there in Nicaragua.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I would greatly value the partnership with Tulsa Classic Cigars. So if you can't get by in person, I'm thrilled that they have an online option now, and Brandon talked about that with me early on as they were working on it. So I'm thrilled to hear that that's coming to fruition, and I look forward to getting back out to Tulsa. I'm going to wait though until it gets a little bit warmer, folks. So
Yeah,
probably
wise.
A little warmer, and I'll come.
Yeah.
And so everyone that's looking, they can find you on Facebook, Instagram, your website. Tell everybody how to find you so they can find it and learn more about Domain Cigars.
Sure. So we're across all platforms. We're Domain Cigars. YouTube, especially YouTube, we've been building and trying to grow our YouTube audience. So Domain Cigars on YouTube. I have a lot of interesting videos kind of peeking behind the curtain, if you will. And then me personally, Daniel C. Lance, Instagram, Facebook, all those types of places that you can find me. So we're on just about every social platform except for Twitter. We were X, I think it's called. We were our account got suspended, which I think was because I opened it in Nicaragua. You know, these social media platforms. You know, and it's actually a good point. So you have a YouTube for Smoke and Sounds.
We do, yes.
Yeah. How have you been handling? We spent an early part of this conversation talking about how regulation.
Yeah.
Which is federal regulation, state regulation, how much that is costing the business and the industry of cigars. But you have your own battle in media where you're not even allowed to say certain things.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to partake in certain things on camera. How's that working out?
Well, so we have friends like the Commander Pilot, the band that we played coming into the episode. They have given us full permission. They've asked us to use their music. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, thankfully, has been really good to us, and they haven't started to slow us down that I've noticed. But YouTube it's really hard, and I've heard a lot. I was just talking with Tim from Cigars Daily, and a lot of people are moving to Rumble for more of their cigar content because there's not the restrictions and stuff that YouTube has, and so we're actually going to be looking into that because thankfully we've got faces for radio, so we're more of an audio podcast.
Much more audio, yeah.
And we've been just graciously across this community, people have welcomed us with open arms, and they love listening to us, and we just get positive feedback every time about you because we're I like to say that we're a little bit different than most of your cigar podcasts because we try to be a little bit more uplifting and fun and talk about even if we're talking about men's mental health or whatever, we try to have a little bit of fun with it. There's nothing wrong with smiling and saying it's okay to enjoy each other's company, but yeah, so we're definitely seeing some of that where we're getting banned or throttled or and it's hard. It's so hard. I'm sitting here trying to run the board, the camera, and I'm like, I would much rather do that than fight the YouTube and TikTok. And obviously, as you probably are seeing as well, it's the regulations that they put. But it's like we were joking. You can jump on most of those and see a scantily clad women, and that's all great. But if you got a cigar in your hand, they're gonna throttle you. So it's just I don't get it. It doesn't matter if we mark it's not made for children or must be 21. We've tried to jump through all the hoops, but it's just thankfully Instagram's been and that cigar and pipe community's been great to us, and Spotify and Apple they've just kind of let us run with the podcast. So that's been great. So
we actually had our Facebook got shut down.
Ours too.
Recommended, so they won't recommend our Facebook accounts anymore. Hasn't YouTube? I decided to not smoke on any of our YouTube videos because it's meant to be an educational place, regardless. So I wanted to make sure that we could actually get all of that information out there. Now, we did actually go to Rumble as well. So we have Domain Cigars on Rumble.
Okay,
and,
excellent.
So look forward to that. If you guys want to give us a follow, if you're a Rumbler. Full disclosure, I was an early investor in Rumble, so I got in very early with those guys, and they were very pro freedom of speech and consumption and everything else. So very good stuff. But make sure if you're listening to this on the podcast that you guys are going and following and hitting the bell and getting notifications on the Smoke and Sound podcast on those platforms, because it's really hard to get found otherwise.
It is, and we got the Facebook restriction not being recommended. I filed submitted the form or whatever, and it looks like they are starting to recommend us again. But it's one of those things. It's just like, golly, when is it? Just let us, and that's why I appreciate, no politics aside, but that's why I do appreciate Rumble being open to freedom of speech and letting you kind of do your thing and allowing people to find what their interests are and things like that.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, Brandon, what do you got before we get out of here?
Well, that's really it. Actually, I may need your help finding that form because we just got hit by that as we started actually gaining some ground. We started really hitting social media hard, gained a bunch of new followers, and then now we're not being recommended.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate, but we're trying to get back that too.
But you're on Instagram too, and is it at Classic?
It's at classic.cigars on
Okay.
Instagram. We're building that following out now, and I've been trying to post and learning how to recommend everybody else and do the things to reach those algorithms and to promote everybody else with us.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Justin? I stepped on you there, buddy.
No, you're fine, man. So guys, you Smoking Sounds listeners, so when we get on Rumble, we're going to let everybody know, and so you can follow us over there, so we can actually smoke on camera and do that thing we do, and we will definitely let everybody know. But of course now, listen to us wherever you get your podcast at Smoking Sounds Pod. Yep. And I was asking about the future. Now we have some things coming up that I don't probably not going to talk a lot about here, but we do have some things coming up that's going to involve you, the audience, and all that. So definitely stay tuned. We have big plans, as big or bigger than us going to the PCA and acting like we're somebody.
That's right. And Mason, tell them how to find you, buddy.
On Instagram, it's at good_smokes, GOODE. On YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble, it's just at Good Smokes. Please go on YouTube and follow me. I think I've got 5 right now. I'm trying to build that platform up. And, yeah.
And we'll put links to all this in the show notes if I can figure out how to do that. Daniel, we decided when me and Justin started this, we decided we were just going to hit record, and whatever happens.
Right.
We weren't going to be your podcast that edits out all the uhs and ohs or the mispronunciations. We just tried because that's what you do in a cigar lounge. We're not editing ourselves when we're talking to each other. We're not trying.
Sure.
So that's what we kind of wanted the podcast to come off as, and we feel like we're kind of getting a good response with that. But I just, again, want to sincerely thank you for taking the time out. I don't know what time it is there in Nicaragua, but I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to spend a few hours with a couple of knuckleheads from Tulsa and then a couple of professionals like Brandon and Jeff and Mason. But again, we can't thank you enough, and we are going. You've got some fanboys here, and we're going to be promoting Domain as much as we can.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks so much for having us.
All right, Justin. Well, listen, I guess that's a wrap on this episode of Smoking Sounds.
Yep.
So, hey, remember to follow us at Smoking Sounds Pod. We are Instagram, Facebook. Hopefully, we'll be on Rumble. And, if you would take time to hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star review. That just helps others find our podcast. And also make sure that you never miss a beat or a draw. So, hey, until next time, keep your cigars lit, your pipes packed, and your sounds smoking.